Hey, what's up, Spooky fam? Today we are finally reviving my I Finally Watched series, and that is because doing all of those Christmas horror movie reviews last year now just kind of lit a fire under my butt to want to do more movie reviews. So I thought that we could try and start tackling the collection and start watching movies that I've collected and haven't seen yet. So I figured we would start right at the very front, the very beginning of the alphabet, with A, and the third movie in to my collection, which is Absentia by Mike Flanagan, who has done such things as The Haunting of Hill House. He did work on The Haunting of Bly Manor, but he also did Ouija Origin of Evil, Dr. Sleep. So many good horror properties that he has done lately, and I don't know. I don't know what to expect from this. I don't know what we're going to be getting into. I know that the synopsis pretty much says a woman's husband has been missing and they have to go and pronounce his body dead in absentia. So let's get into it. It is an hour and a half long. So, I will say I'm a little disappointed that the disc is just the picture from this, because you guys saw, I don't know if you remember, but my disc for Krampus was really cool, and also my disc for Better Watch Out was really cool, and I appreciate it when they themed the discs to match the movie or like the case. Maybe that's just me being a little crazy about my collecting, but let's get into the movie. I am very excited to finally be watching this one. I was just watching New Girl, but we'll switch it over right now. Okay, movie just ended. I enjoyed it. There was definitely, so it just feels, it felt like an amateur horror movie, but it was really well executed. I will get more into that when I go ahead and like talk more about the movie, but there was like a sequence midway through the movie that was very intense, and it was really good. So I really enjoyed that. I'm gonna go ahead and sit on this and kind of read about it, envelop myself, if you will, into this movie for a little while, and then I'll come back for my review because I enjoyed it a lot. Maybe, you know what, there is special features, so I will go ahead and check out the special features. You know what, now that I'm like seeing this after rewatching it, like seeing the opening, I'm like putting so much more together about the story. That was, Mike Flanagan does a really good job at telling a story, and I appreciate the hell out of him, man. He knows, he understands feels, and he understands how to really tell a story. Okay, so there is like a 33-minute little, it's called a retrospective on the special features, just kind of going over the movie itself and the characters itself. So I'm gonna go ahead and watch this right now, and then I will come back and let you know kind of what it was about, I guess. Okay, this is way more interesting than I thought. This movie has so much love that was put into it. I respect Mike Flanagan so much more after watching this, but like the process of which that went into this movie is just so cool. So I appreciate it a lot. I'm glad I watched this. Let's talk about Absentia, a 2011 supernatural horror film written, directed, and edited by Mike Flanagan, who we all know. Primarily, we all probably know him from The Haunting of Hill House, but he also did amazing things such as Oculus,
visual, auditory, even olfactory,
Ouija Origin of Evil. He worked on Bly Manor, which some of the characters are from in this movie. Anyways, I'm not going to go too in-depth about this because I went in pretty much blind. I bought the DVD on a whim, knowing that it was by Mike Flanagan, so I wanted to use this as kind of a catalyst in my I Finally Watched series. So I'm going to kind of talk a little bit vaguely about the movie. There's a lot that I didn't expect. It's kind of campy, it's kind of cheesy, just because it feels really amateur, but don't let that shy you away from like the premise of this movie, because it does have a lot of heart, especially after I watched the little documentary at the end that I told you guys about. But anyways, if you kind of want to see, I'm gonna knock that down one day. If you guys want to see where Mike Flanagan got his start in horror, I highly recommend going in blind for Absentia. So this movie is essentially about a woman who is 8 months pregnant. I'm pretty sure she was, I might be getting this confused because I know she was 8 months pregnant in real life. But the main character was played by Mike Flanagan's at the time partner Courtney Bell, and she was pregnant with their child at the time. Felt like that's kind of scary to me, to be like filming a movie about like being pregnant and like being, I don't know. Anyways, it's about a pregnant woman whose husband mysteriously vanished 7 years before we kind of catch up with the movie. And it picks up as her sister is coming to stay with her to prepare for the birthing of the baby. But then some weird stuff starts to happen. And when I say like weird stuff, it's kind of more like in the community. I'm trying to be like really vague about this because it's worth a watch. So not only is this a family drama, but it does deal with themes of grief and loss, addiction, surprisingly, finding new love, and like the underworld, the afterlife. Yeah, I mean, you can still see these themes in things that Mike Flanagan works on today. And when I say addiction, I'm just going to quickly shout out the woman who plays the main character's sister in this movie. I'm not gonna go like too in depth about character names because I didn't bother writing it down. But the main character's sister is played by, if you guys watched Bly Manor, she is played by Perdita. And the episode where, like, you know, Perdita, and she just, from that episode on, I was ruined. We get an amazing cameo from Doug Jones, and in that little documentary that I mentioned, he said that he wants to work with Mike Flanagan on like every project he does from then on because he had a really good time filming with him. And you know what? You can tell that like the set, it was so amateur, but it just felt so welcoming, and that's why I like this movie so much, because after watching kind of like behind the scenes of like how the movie was made, it just made me respect it a lot more. And like I said at the beginning of the movie, it felt kind of amateur, it felt very frigid, but as we kind of like get warmed up with the characters, it becomes this story of like, what is the underneath? I'm just going to leave that with you guys. It just feels really soaked in realism because it just feels so amateur, I guess. And overall, we get this really like low budget Kickstarter campaign horror movie with a couple of really good jump scares and a lot of heart. Overall, I said overall already, didn't I? I mentioned the Kickstarter. They did a Kickstarter campaign to raise money for this movie. I think that's pretty cool. And they filmed it in 15 days, primarily at Mike Flanagan's house, his apartment, I'm pretty sure. But like I said, it was full of heart. There was a couple of genuine jump scares, and there was a couple of familiar faces that I recognized and didn't realize that I knew who they were. So highly recommend checking out Absentia if you guys have any interest in Mike Flanagan and you have not seen this movie. Let's talk about ratings. For scares, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 6.5 just because some of the like amateur hour camera work, not like amateur hour like in a bad way, but like, you know what I mean, it just kind of like takes you out of it a little bit. But like I said, there were a couple of genuine jump scares, so I'm going to go ahead and give it a 6.5 out of 10. For gore, I will give it a 5 just because there is there's like no gore in this movie, but there is like one scene with Doug Jones's character. I think you see him twice and he is kind of like mangled, so that I will give it a 5 for. And overall, I'm going to go ahead and give this movie a 6.5 out of 10. If you have seen Absentia, let me know what you guys thought down below. I am super excited to get back into reviewing movies and to go through like I don't know where it came from. Like I just wanted to start from the beginning, start from A, and start working my way through all the movies that I haven't watched alphabetically, and Absentia was the first one that I hadn't seen, so it's just really exciting to get back into this series. So I hope you enjoyed. I am very excited, obviously. Anyways, check out my main channel for reaction videos. Don't forget to like, subscribe for more, and I will see you soon. Sayonara, Spooky fam.